Come through the sky, Christopher Daniels, Frankie Coverdale, collectively known as SoCal Uncensored or
SCU! This is Catch, Hook, and Shoot, the worst podcast I've ever been on. Word.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to Catch, Hook, and Shoot, the best podcast you've never heard of. My name's Tom. I am your host. Today is Sunday, August the 16th, 2020. I took a little bit of a break last week, but I hope everybody enjoyed the live play-by-play from the Warrior Wrestling Friday Night Lights show that was posted. It was an awesome time. I got to say thank you to Steve Tortorello and everybody else at Warrior for having us out and just for, treating me and Charlie like family. It really is an awesome environment. It was a great show. They did a great job with the social distancing aspect of it, and I think everybody had an awesome time. And again, thank you to everybody at Warrior Wrestling, and can't wait to do it again. I want to thank everybody for listening, watching, and subscribing on YouTube, Podbean, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts from. Hope everybody's following on social media. You can find the show at Catch, Hook, Shoot on all platforms. Head to patreon.com/CatchHookShoot for bonus content that is still being tweaked a little bit. And ProWrestlingTees.com/CatchHookShoot for all your t-shirt needs. And don't forget the brand new web store, CatchHookShoot.BigCartel.com for t-shirts and hats and stuff like that is not available in the Pro Wrestling Tees store. And if you ever want to shoot me an email, it's CatchHookShoot@gmail.com. So, we've got a couple of weeks to catch up on here. We got a little bit of an extended show, so let's kick it all off like we always do with the match of the week. All right, so this week's match of the week comes to us from AEW Dynamite this past Wednesday, and it is Orange Cassidy versus Chris Jericho. This story with Cassidy and Jericho has been going on for a little while, and I love the storyline. I love the rivalry. Jericho has done a lot as far as elevating Orange Cassidy to a main event level, and these two guys put on a fantastic match. I mean, Orange Cassidy catches a lot of grief online because of his gimmick, the kind of laid back, don't care, hands in the pockets kind of thing. But when it comes down to it, in the ring, Orange Cassidy can go. The guy is a good wrestler, whether you like his gimmick or not. The guy can go in the ring. There's no argument about that. I don't care if you like him or not. The guy is a great athlete. So if you have not seen this match yet, go back and check out AEW Dynamite from Wednesday. Orange Cassidy versus Chris Jericho. Cassidy did pick up the victory in this one, his first victory over Jericho. If you're only going to watch one wrestling match this week, make it Orange Cassidy and Chris Jericho. So moving on into our next segment of the show, my top three highlights of the week, or in this case from the past 2 weeks. I'm talking about the 3 count. Number 1 on the 3 count, Raw Underground. This is kind of a hybrid mashup between like Fight Club and UFC and Josh Barnett's Bloodsport promotion. It's exactly what it says, like an underground fighting type thing. They're in a wrestling ring, but there's no ropes, and it's just kind of like no holds barred fighting, taped fists and stuff like that. And it's kind of a cool concept. I'm digging it a little bit. I'm liking it also because we're getting to see some people in there that we're not seeing on TV a whole lot. Like we saw Dio Madden get involved. Haven't seen him since he left the Raw commentary team. And Babatunde was another one, featured pretty big in that first week. So I'm liking it so far. So hopefully it continues in that direction. Number 2 on the 3 count, Retribution, a new faction in WWE, has kind of been invading and taking over on Raw and Smackdown. They're the ones responsible for like the technical difficulties that have been going on, and they've been launching some some kind of sneak attacks on not just the in-ring competitors, but also the wrestlers in the audience, and even the commentary team chasing Cole and Graves away from the commentary table on SmackDown. And I'm liking where this is going. It's it is kind of old hat, this type of angle, but it works when it's done right. And so far, it's being done right. So I'm hoping they continue in the same direction. And number 3 up on the 3 count is WWE has announced, and it actually started yesterday, that they have added events from the libraries of Evolve, Progress, ICW, and WXW independent promotions to the WWE network. This is huge. I mean, it was, announced a little while ago that WWE had purchased Evolve, but Progress, ICW, WXW, really the other predominant independent promotions in the world, and ones that WWE does have something of a relationship with, especially Progress and ICW. So it's just more content for the WWE network and just adding even more value to it. So, it's going to draw in some of those independent wrestling fans who may not be so interested in the WWE catalog, but if they want to, check out Evolve or Progress or some of these other companies, it's going to draw some of them in too. So I would think it's going to drive some new subscribers to the WWE network. So moving on to the highlights and news and rumors for the week. This past week on Raw, we saw the contract signing between Dominic Mysterio and Seth Rollins for SummerSlam. And Dominic actually signed 2 contracts, the contract for the match and his official WWE contract. So he is now officially a WWE superstar. Very, very interested to see Dominic's first WWE match. He has shown flashes of greatness. I mean, you can tell, he is his father's son. He has been trained. Rey Mysterio said a while back he was sending Dominic, to the best trainers that he could to learn the business and learn the in-ring side of the business before he even steps foot in a ring for a match. And you can tell that training has been paying off. So I can't wait to see Dominic actually in a match. We also saw Rollins pick up a victory over Humberto Carrillo, and after that match, Rollins and Murphy both just proceeded to beat down Dominic with a kendo stick. Now Dominic, of course, the last few weeks has kind of been getting the upper hand with the hit and run attacks on Rollins and Murphy. And, this week he caught up with them. Dominic caught a pretty good beatdown. If you saw the pictures online, he got, bruised up and scarred up pretty bad from that kendo stick. So, again, I can't wait to see the match between him and Rollins. Then we saw, excuse me, from the Street Profits, we saw Dawkins pick up a victory over Andrade. Now, this coming off last week when Montez Ford was poisoned, quote unquote, and collapsed in the middle of a match. And also off of that, we got a match between Bianca Belair, Montez Ford's wife, picking up a victory over Zelina Vega. So they are definitely continuing this rivalry with the Street Profits and Andrade and Angel Garza, and now they're involving Bianca Belair and Zelina Vega in the mix. So I'm liking a lot of the storylines that WWE is pushing right now. They're it's making for some pretty good TV, I think. That's my opinion. I'm sure there's people out there that are not going to like it, but I think it's moving in a good direction right now with the major storylines. We also saw Asuka pick up a victory over Bayley, which earned her a shot at Sasha Banks' Raw Women's Championship at SummerSlam. And then talked about Raw Underground a little while ago. Shayna Baszler actually made an appearance on Raw Underground this past week, and cleaned house. Took on 3 different women, beat them all down. So they looks like Shayna's starting to get a little bit more of a push again. And then Randy Orton picked up a victory over Kevin Owens in the main event of Raw. But the big story here, if you've been following this storyline between Randy Orton and WWE Champion Drew McIntyre, they have a match coming up at SummerSlam for the title. But at the end of this match, Randy Orton, I think a lot of people probably saw this coming at some point, living up to his Legend Killer moniker and just punting Ric Flair of all people, and that brought McIntyre out, and it was just added fuel to the fire between McIntyre and Orton. So this rivalry between them is building up very, very well. So I mean, if you saw Raw 2 weeks ago, the promo between Orton and McIntyre was just phenomenal. It was amazing. So this is probably my favorite rivalry right now in WWE is Orton and McIntyre. Moving on to NXT, Karrion Kross picked up a victory over Danny Burch in a really good match. But the story on that one is at the end of the match, Keith Lee brought out a contract for a title match, an NXT Championship match for NXT Takeover 30, which is coming up next week. And, of course, Kross signed it, obviously. And when he gave the contract back to Keith Lee picked it up after Scarlett slid it back into the ring. And when Lee opened the folder, a fireball shot out into his face. This was a pretty cool spot because fireball spots can look very hokey. They don't always work. And, sometimes they just look goofy and they just don't work right. This was very well placed and just came off really, really good, and it just kind of adds to the mystique of Karrion Kross. Like, well, how did he do that? How did he make the fireball shoot out of Keith Lee? I mean, obviously you have to suspend some disbelief here, but it was a really, really cool spot. And then we saw the Undisputed Era kind of reasserting their dominance. They attacked in the middle of a match between Drake Maverick and Killian Dane. And this is kind of spawning from the last couple of weeks. There's been a big rivalry brewing between Pat McAfee and Adam Cole. It started when Cole was on McAfee's podcast. There were some words exchanged, McAfee kind of making fun of Cole's smaller stature, so to speak. And it was just it was very interesting spot. And then McAfee made an appearance not this past week, but the week before on NXT as a guest commentator, and saying things had been smoothed over with him and Cole and things like that. But it apparently wasn't the case. McAfee kept on making these comments, which caused the ire of Adam Cole to be raised. They got into a little bit of a shouting match, and long story short, McAfee ended up kicking Adam Cole what looked like in the throat. So this week on NXT, we saw Undisputed Era just kind of cleaning house, and Cole challenging Pat McAfee to a match at NXT TakeOver 30 coming up next Saturday. And then for the North American Championship ladder match, also coming up at TakeOver 30, Cameron Grimes picked up a victory over Kushida and the returning Velveteen Dream to earn his spot in that ladder match. And I'll be having a full preview of the of NXT TakeOver 30 coming up here in just a few minutes, right after I get done running down Smackdown here. On the Smackdown side, we saw Retribution strike pretty much right at the top of the show, and just generally causing some chaos. Asuka actually also made an appearance in the there was a triple brand battle royal which was set up by Stephanie McMahon, and this was to determine Bayley's number one contender for SummerSlam for the SmackDown Women's Championship, and this match was won by Asuka as well. Now what that means is Asuka will be challenging for both women's championships coming up at SummerSlam next week. I gotta wonder, is it going to be two separate matches? Is it going to be a triple threat match, winner take all, like at WrestleMania a couple of years ago with Becky Lynch? Who knows? I'm interested to see where this is going to go. Is Asuka going to come out with both titles? So I guess we'll find that out sometime over the next week or so, how that's actually going to work. We also found out Mandy Rose and Sonia Deville will be having a hair versus hair match at SummerSlam. Now this comes from last week on SmackDown. Sonia attacked Mandy and cut her hair in the locker room area. So, this is just again adding fuel to the fire for this rivalry. So I'm looking forward to this one. Kinda. I'm interested to see which one of these women is going to end up getting their head shaved, if they're going to take it to that level, or who knows. But hair versus hair match at SummerSlam with Mandy and Sonia. Then we had AJ Styles come out to the ring with Joseph Park, or Chris Park, or Abyss, or whatever you want to call him, come out with him, which was kind of cool. It's really the first, not the first on-screen appearance, but the first, in-ring, actually part of a storyline appearance for Chris Parks since he joined the WWE as a producer a while back, and basically what AJ was doing was touting how great of a champion he is. There's nobody who can challenge him, and this thing called the Phenomenal Intercontinental Statistics System. Yeah, you can spell that out for yourself. But long story short, he was interrupted by Jeff Hardy, so it looks like AJ's next opponent for the Intercontinental title is going to be Jeff Hardy. These guys no strangers to each other. They can put on some fantastic matches, so I cannot wait to see this. And then we saw really the beginning of Big E's singles run, since Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods are both out with injury. Big E picked up a victory over John Morrison. Now, this was a match that was supposed to start off SmackDown, but Retribution ended up interrupting it, so it took place later in the show. Big E did pick up the win. Sheamus attacked Big E at the end of this match because they had a little bit of a confrontation in the back after the Retribution attack. So it looks like that could be Sheamus's next rivalry could be with Big E, which should be a pretty good one. I mean, two big bulls getting in the ring and hooking it up. I definitely like to see those matches. So, and then again, Retribution striking once again on SmackDown, attacking the referees in the back. The camera shot to the back, and we saw a bunch of referees and officials laid out. So, yeah, I really am curious to see how this is going to play out. Who's going to be in Retribution? I have some ideas of my own, but we'll get to that in a little bit. And then the end of SmackDown, we saw some more build-up for The Fiend and Braun Strowman. Now Alexa Bliss is involved in this. Now, I didn't see this entire segment because something happened with my DVR, and it didn't record like the last half hour of SmackDown. But yeah, basically Braun Strowman appearing with a new look, got his head completely shaved bald, and came out to the ring, cutting a promo, and Alexa Bliss came down to the ring, and basically the last thing you saw was Braun with Alexa pressed over his head. The lights went down when they came back up. The Fiend was in the ring with Alexa, and Braun was on the big screen just laughing. So yeah, some interesting turns of events going on with the Fiend and Braun Strowman. So that's pretty much it for WWE news and rumors. Let's get to the preview of NXT Takeover 30 coming up next week. As of right now, it's only 4 matches, which we've had. I mean, that 4 matches can make up a great NXT Takeover, especially when one of them is a 5-man ladder match. So it wouldn't surprise me if this is the final card. But for the NXT Championship, we've got Keith Lee defending against Carrie and Cross. As much as I would love to see Carrie and Cross with the NXT title, I don't think they're going to take it off of Keith Lee quite yet. I don't necessarily think it's going to be a clean victory. I don't think this is going to be the end of this rivalry. So, I think it's going to carry out a little bit more. So I'm expecting Keith Lee to retain, whether it's by disqualification or no contest, or who knows, because it's a straight up singles match. So I have a feeling it may end in a no contest. Double disqualification, something like that, so they can keep building this rivalry and move it into some type of gimmick match, whether it's last man standing, a submission match, or something along those lines. Then we've got, like I talked about a little while ago, Adam Cole taking on Pat McAfee. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if Pat McAfee can wrestle. I'm assuming that he's, trained somewhat or being trained. But, Cole, I don't think is capable of putting on a bad match. So I'm cautiously optimistic about this one. For the NXT Women's Champion, and obviously I'm picking Adam Cole to pick up the victory with Pat McAfee, unless they're going to extend this one out longer, which I really don't see why. But, Cole over McAfee for me. And then we've got Io Shirai defending the NXT Women's Championship against Dakota Kai. Kind of a toss-up in this one. I mean, I love Io Shirai. She's probably my favorite on the NXT Women's roster. But I got a feeling Dakota Kai may end up picking up the victory in this one. So I'm gonna go out on a limb and say Dakota Kai is gonna be your new NXT Women's Champion. And then we've got the 5-person ladder match for the vacant NXT North American Championship. Bronson Reed versus Damian Priest versus Cameron Grimes, and the last 2 spots are still open. Those will be filled on this coming week's NXT. So it'll either be Johnny Gargano or Ridge Holland taking 1 spot, and then Finn Balor or Velveteen Dream taking the last spot. So with the way that it's gone, I'm gonna say the last 2 spots are gonna be Ridge Holland and Finn Balor. You know, because some of the guys in this match, you wouldn't have expected them to win the triple threats that they were in. So, you know, I think we'll maybe have one more kind of surprise entry here. So I'm gonna say Ridge Holland and Finn Balor are gonna be the last 2 spots in that match, and I think I'm going to go with Damian Priest to win the North American Championship. He just, I think it's time to put a championship on him, and try to put him into, push him into more of a main event spotlight. So so I've got Damian Priest for the North American Championship, Dakota Kai winning the NXT Women's Championship, Adam Cole defeating Pat McAfee, and Keith Lee retaining versus Karrion Kross. Not necessarily a victory, but retaining the championship. Moving into AEW, we got some more build-up between Jon Moxley and MJF. Now, of course, that's going to be your main event for All Out coming up September 5th, and doing a pretty good job of building this match up so far. You got MJF kind of almost doing it like a campaign style build up for this match, where he's coming out and making speeches and things like that, like a politician, and it's working. I mean, for me, it's working, and now MJF is petitioning to have the paradigm shift banned, and he came out and made his little speech this week, and Moxley's music hit, and Wardlow and all of MJF's security force ran up into the stands, because that's where Mox always comes in from. And of course, this time he came in through the regular entrance tunnel and hit MJF with the paradigm shift, and then took off before the security guys could get back to the ring. So that's why MJF wants the paradigm shift banned. Cody debuted the new finished TNT Championship belt, and it's a good looking belt. Same design that we've seen, but it's got the gold accents and the little more embellishments on it, and the TNT logo in the center of the belt now is raised and in gold, and I think it's a good looking belt. A lot of people had stuff to say about it, of course, everybody does, but the new TNT title looking pretty good to me. And Cody made his entrance this week with the entire Nightmare family. Brandy, Dustin, Allie, QT Marshall, all of them came out with Cody for his defense against Scorpio Sky, who it looks like Scorpio is starting to get pushed a little bit in that singles division, kind of breaking away from SCU, which I like. Scorpio, for my money, he is one of the guys who is the future of AEW. He is going to be the world champion sometime very soon, I would think. I mean, if MJF happens to take the title off of Moxley, I think Scorpio is the one to take it off of MJF. But if Moxley retains it, then I think Scorpio should take it off of Moxley. Scorpio for me is the guy for NXT or for AEW going forward. I have no doubt about that. But it was. Cody and Scorpio put on an amazing match. Cody did retain the title. We saw the debut of former WWE referee Mike Chioda in this match with Cody and Scorpio. So Mike Chioda now an AEW referee, which is really cool. I mean, Chioda's been in the business forever, and he was part of that big mass release from WWE back in April. Then at the end of this match, we saw Brody Lee up on the big screen with the old TNT Championship belt, and basically challenging Cody for next week. So that match is going to happen, and that next week's Dynamite is actually on Saturday the 22nd, same night as NXT Takeover. So should be interesting. But so next Saturday the 22nd is AEW Dynamite because of NBA schedules with TNT and everything like that. So and it'll be Cody versus Brody Lee for the TNT Championship. Now this was also the tag team appreciation night that had been requested by FTR when they signed their contracts with AEW a couple of weeks ago. And we saw an appearance in the ring by FTR along with Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard, the Rock and Roll Express, and the Young Bucks. And, basically kind of just talking tag team wrestling. And, of course, Tully Blanchard had quite a few things to say to the other teams in the ring. We saw Ricky Morton take a little bit of a swing at Tully, and it was an entertaining spot. Then we saw FTR attack the Rock and Roll Express from behind. The Young Bucks came out and made the save. So it's the tag team division in AEW just second to none, and this was a great spot. AEW also announced that on Wednesday they will be debuting part 1 of All Out from last year on their YouTube channel. So if you didn't see All Out last year, head to YouTube on Wednesday night and check out the first part of it. It was a great pay-per-view. If you're new to AEW still, you haven't been watching too long, or maybe you haven't checked it out at all, check out All Out on YouTube this coming Wednesday. I already talked about the match between Orange Cassidy and Chris Jericho. Fantastic match between these two guys. And the ongoing women's tag team tournament for AEW called the Deadly Draw, very reminiscent of the Battle Bowl back in the WCW days, where it's a random draw to select tag team partners. It is down to the semifinals already, and those semifinal matches are Big and Little Swole versus the Nightmare Sisters, Brandy Rhodes and Allie, and the other semifinal is Anna Jay and Taynara Conti, formerly of NXT, to take on Diamante and Eva Lise. Some pretty cool teams. We've seen some debuts, some AEW debuts during this tournament. Dasha Gonzalez, the typically a backstage interviewer, also a co-host with Tony Schiavone on Dark. She does Spanish commentary for the show. Made her in-ring debut for AEW. Ariane Andrew, formerly known as Cameron in WWE, made her debut. Rachel Ellering made her AEW debut in this tournament. So, some very cool stuff going on with the women's division. And the semifinals and the final of that tournament will take place also on next week's Dynamite on Saturday, the 22nd. Getting into some Impact news, a couple of weeks ago, Rich Swann actually came to the ring and announced his retirement due to a leg injury that's kind of been nagging. He had to have surgery, and then it was re-injured during the championship match at the last pay-per-view by Eric Young and things like that. But after this retirement announcement, Eric Young attacked him again. So I don't know if this is a legit retirement or if he just needs some more time off. But either way, Rich Swann is out for the foreseeable future. We also saw the debut of Brian Myers, formerly known as Kurt Hawkins in WWE, and he debuted, right on top, taking on Eddie Edwards for the Impact World Championship. Now Edwards did retain the title, but it was a great match between Edwards and Myers. So it looks like Brian Myers, if they keep going the way they're going with him, he's gonna do well in Impact. I was impressed with his debut, because I like Kurt Hawkins, but you never got to see that much of him, so you really didn't know too much about what he could do in the ring. And he put on a fantastic match with Eddie Edwards this past week, so I'm looking forward to seeing more. Coming up next week, they're starting a 2-week event called Emergence for Impact, and night 1 will be Eddie Edwards defending the World Championship against an opponent to be announced, basically an open challenge. Motor City Machine Guns giving the rematch to the North for the Impact Tag Team title. For the X Division title, we got Chris Bay defending against TJP and Rohit Raju in a three-way match. For the TNA title, Moose will be defending against Trey from the Rascals, so that should be interesting. Kylie Ray and Taya Valkyrie will be having a Wrestle House match. Of course, they're two of the wrestlers participating in this Wrestle House kind of thing going on during the Impact shows. If you haven't seen it, check it out. It's cool, it's entertaining, it's funny. I like it. So check it out. Then we've got the Good Brothers taking on Ace Austin and Madman Fulton. Should be a great match. And then night 2 the following week, the only match that's been announced so far is for the Impact Knockouts Championship. Deonna Purrazzo defending against Jordynne Grace in a 30-minute Iron Woman match. I am very excited for this one. I think everybody knows by now Jordynne Grace, probably one of my top 3 favorite women in wrestling right now. First time ever in Impact, a 30-minute Iron Woman match with Grace and Purrazzo. I can't wait to see that one. So that's going to do it for news and rumors for this week. So right now, I'm going to throw it over to Charlie G, and he is here with all the news from the last 2 weeks in an extended edition of the Indie Cut.
Thank you, Tom, and hey there, wrestling friends. I am Charlie G with your Indie Cut. There was a lot of wrestling action these last 2 weeks and some news, but before I get to that, I would like to thank all those at Warrior Wrestling for making myself and Tom feel like part of the Warrior family. I had an awesome time meeting the wrestlers, getting so many of their autographs, as you can see behind me, and having some nice conversations with most. I hope everyone there stayed safe, and we can do another show soon. Also, a big thank you goes out to DJ Ansi, WrestleCast Radio, and Styles Variants for letting me promote the show and podcast on their Twitch stream and Discord. Their help really came through. Enough of the thank yous. Let's begin with some wrestling action. And get your maps out. We got some new ones today. Starting with July 30th with Pro Wrestling Phoenix 15th Anniversary Spectacular from Omaha, Nebraska. For their tag titles, the Daniel brothers of Joey Daniels and Paul Daniels defeated champions Pat Powers and Tony Cortez to become new champions. And in their heavyweight title match, champion Duke Cornell defeated Moonshine Russell. And soon after, Con Artist defeated champion Duke Cornell to become new champion. We go to Calgary, Alberta, Canada for Friday Night Fights on July 31st. Rio Canadian Wrestling. No one of interest there, except for Matt Hart, of all people. So hopefully that Hart name is part of the Hart legendary family. We go to Pro South Wrestling in Piedmont, Alabama for their tag title match. Joe Black and William Huckabee, who are champions, defeated Aleister Crow and Dorian Crow. On to August 1st. And Wave Nami won with an attendance of 105. We go to Noah, who is the leader. Over to Kobe Euro Pro Wrestling with an attendance of 100. A freelance show with Tajiri defeating Bad Max Fujinaga. Ice Ribbon had show 1055 with a attendance of 50. Then another freelance show of Gaki no Fuji Yoshi, 2020 Star is Summer Isn't It, with an attendance of 119. Where a Falls Count Anywhere Hardcore Tornado Tag Match happened with Drew Parker and Rina Yamashita defeated Chris Brooks and Miyoko Matsumoto. Then to DDT Beer Garden Day 3 with an attendance of 202. This was an interesting show, I must say. They had a 3-way crocodile death match with in a round 9 no contest. Then a rock and roll death 4-way match with Yazawa defeating Brother Kazuki Sakiyaki and Shunwa Katsumata. Very fun, the match. Check out DJ Ansi for that on his Twitch. Look up August 2nd or so. It's on there. Then 6-6 Roku Olympics started their day 1. Then we head all the way down to Auckland, New Zealand for Impact Pro Wrestling. Fans Bring the Weapons. Tagatis versus Sheehan 2 in their Kincaid Cup title 4-way match. Sir Mr. Burns defeated champion Mandy Short, Liger, and T-Rex to become new champion. In a New Zealand women's title match, champion Candy Lee defeated Frankie Quinn. Nice last name. In the IPW New Zealand Heavyweight Fans Bring the Weapons match, Jake Sheehan defeated champion Jamie Tagasi to become new champion. And we head back to the States for Southern Friday Championship Wrestling in Loganville, Georgia, with an attendance of 300. You came close, but not so. For their classic title match, Corey Hollis defeated champion David Ali by DQ. And then in a six-man match, Bull Buchanan, yes, Bull Buchanan of WWE fame, and Griff Garrison of AEW Dark fame defeated Adrian Hawkins, Bobby Moore, and Rob Adonis. Then over to Renegade Championship Wrestling in Chatsworth, Georgia, with an attendance of 85, where they had a War Games Advantage match with Johnny Viper defeating CJ Holloway. Metroplex Wrestling Fight Win Survive Day 2 from Bedford, Texas. In their Metroplex title match, champion Dave Segan defeated Jackson Stone. Back to Georgia for Livewire Wrestling Alive and Amplified. In their Amplified title gauntlet match, Adrian Davis became champion there. Then up to Connorsville, Indiana for IWA Mid-South King of the Death Matches Day 2, where the Mid-South Heavyweight title, Jake Chris, who was champion, defeated Lincoln Mosley. And then in the King of the Death Matches 2020 final barbed wire cage house of horrors match, Eric Ryan with Eddie Only and Ricky Shane Page defeated Schlack. This is a gruesome show, and that cage match, wow, that was interesting to say the least. We head over to Eastern Wrestling Association Diamonds Paradise from Baltimore, Maryland. In their warehouse title three-way match, Jacob Jett defeated Ricky Diamante and Sal Esparza to become new champion. Down to Coastal Championship Wrestling, New Generation Championship Wrestling, Lucha Extravaganza from Orlando, Florida. And in their CCW six-man title, the Clone Dynasty of Eddie Clone and Orlando Clone teamed with the Barriqua Warrior, who are champions, to defeat Angel Fashion, Johnny Walker, and Will Austin. Up to America's Most Likely Liked Wrestling, the future stars of AML Wrestling in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. In their prestige title match, champion Colby Carino defeated Court Montgomery. Nice to see Colt with a championship. Then a little talking shop-a-mania from Luke Gales' backyard. They started off with a battle royal with Brian Pillman Jr. in it, and it was won by Alexander Kozak's mother, until Chico Del Luchador snuck in to win the 24/7 championship. Then there was a contract in a tree match with Paul Lee versus Frankie Coverdale. This continued throughout the show between an Enzo. Enzo Mori was on the show doing a promo. Then some Elvises interfered, and then no one cared who won, so Gales lost by booking this shit. There was a hardcore match that went throughout the house between George North versus Kowalski. After two matches, this match ended as well. Then they had a tag match, which I thought it was the 80s Russians versus the Jungle Kittens. Then the Flock appeared. Then D'Lo Brown, Rhino, Pillman Jr., Kim Chi, Chavo Guerrero, Willie Mack. And it ended with Mac stunning Chavo Guerrero, of all people, after they chugged some beers. Then Rory Fox took on Brian Myers until he asked Swago to come out for him, and he hit the frog splash to win. Then Chico Del Luchador met up with Chavo in the house, where Chavo beat him down to become the champion. And then Chad Too Bad came out of nowhere to congrats Chavo, and then he won the title. And then the main event, it was the Boneyard match with Chad Too Bad versus X Ferguson. Chad won with the sign to the head, then buried Six Alive, complaining about all their mistakes during the show. Yes, it was the worst pay-per-view ever. They promoted it as that, but it was the funnest worst pay-per-view ever. If you can go back and watch it, please do. It was just fun all around. Then on to August 2nd, where Sendai Girls put on a show with attendance of 130. Noah had a show of the Spirit 2020. Then Michinoku Pro Dojo had a show with attendance of 26. Then Dragon Gate Memorial Gate 2020, where they had a Twin Gate title match. Jason Lee and Kota Miyonora defeating champions BXB Hulk and Kazuma Sakamoto to become new champions. And in their Open the Dream Gate title, Ida defeated champion Naruko Daio to become new champion as well. Princess Diana Wrestling had a show. It's on YouTube. Big Japan Pro Wrestling had an attendance of 415. In their Strong World Heavyweight title match, Daichi Hashimoto, who was champion, defeated Yushima Fumi Nakanoi. They also did a show with an attendance of 178 in a parking lot. That'd be interesting to see. And then Pro Wrestling A-Team held a show with an attendance of 50, where Taka Michinoku defeated Hashigawa. Also on the show for the WEW tag titles, Brian Usuzaki and Tsukimi Sakura defeated champions Genotaro and Nabutaka Ruby to become new champions. 666 Roku Olympics Day 2 took place. Then up to Indianapolis, Indiana, and GCW Keep in Touch from Celebration Plaza Amphitheater. Another great setting and great show. Since I watched it, I'll go through it. With Tony Deppen defeating Benjamin Carter of Warrior Wrestling. It was a decent match. Deppen did a running knee strike to the head. Carter even tried a twisting senton twice, which set up that final move. Then match 2 was Cole Radrick defeating MDK Kylie Ray with a chokebreaker into a pile driver. This was a fun match, with Kylie actually powerbombing Cole through a chair and table from the ring apron, bringing out her inner Nick Gage, who she replaced, who was injured. Kylie might have lost a tooth during the match, during a missed time, but she seemed fine at Warrior Wrestling. KTB defeated Calvin Tankman with a DVD from the second rope, and then won with a single leg crab lock. Very good. These are two horses and have a very bright future ahead of them. Then in a match I enjoyed, Blake Christian defeated Trey Lamar. Really nice match with lots of high-flying moves in and out of the ring. Blake landed his Aaliyah for the win. Then it was the 440H boys of Atticus Cogar and Ricky Shane Page defeating Alley Cat and Effie. Yeah, who cares about the 440H? Mance Warner defeated Spider Nate Webb in a wild match with doors and chairs galore. Mance landed a choke slam through 2 doors, but Webb still kicked out. And then Mance hit a DDT onto some chairs for the win. And then in a scramble match that got me prepared for a week later, of Alex Zane defeating Jordan Oliver, Ace Austin, Jimmy Lloyd, Shane Mercer, Isaiah Velasquez. This was a fun match. Alex landed his taco driver on Mercer to win, and Ace Austin wore his protective mask all through the match, so he was staying safe, you might say. Then Chris Dickinson defeated AJ Gray in a rather slow match. Chris hit a powerbomb, then a cloverleaf to win. Very good move. And then in the main event, it was ACH defeating Joey Janela. No, his DDT title was not on the line, despite what you might read. ACH hit a low blow into a crossface to win. Seems that ACH is going the cheating route in his matches for GCW. But still, nice show nonetheless. Down to August 3rd, Total Triumph Team Scramble 6 with a 10 of 100, where they had a CCW Canadian Heavyweight title match in Tokyo, Japan, with champion Guts Yoshijima defeating Masked Mystery. Their guess is as good as mine. The Roku Olympics Day 3 took place, and then to August 4th, Stardom Cinderella Summer in Tokyo with an intensive 483. For their high-speed title three-way match, Azumi defeated champion Riho and Starlight Kid to become new champion in a very cool match. And the Goddesses of Stardom title match, which was vacant, Saya Kimatani and Utami Hayashita defeated Jungo Kiona and Konami to become new champions. That was also a very good match. And then in the Wonder of Stardom title tournament final match for the vacant title, Julia defeated with her version of the Rings of Saturn, knocking out Tam Nakano. This was a hard-fought match and very good match. I mean, Julia and Tam just went at it. Very cool. Check it out on DJ Yancey's show or Stardom if you can. Then Noah Departure Day 1, where they had the GHC National Title match with Kenu defeating champion Katsuhiko Nakajima by KO to become new champion. Roku Olympics Day 5 took place. And then OVW TV taped episode 1096. If you were in Jefferson, Indiana with WBNA Channel 21, you can catch these shows probably the week of. If not, you can watch on YouTube a couple weeks late, so I will not tell you the results of this show, other than Jay Bradley appeared with KL Hero, Brian Pillman Jr. versus Ashton Covey, and they had an OVW Anarchy title rumble match. So check it out. I believe 1096 will come out this week, because 1095 came out earlier this week. So check it out if you can. Then to August 5th, Noah Departure Day 2. Heavyweight champion Ghost Shiozaki defeated Nomichi Marufuji. Ice Ribbon's P Party number 50 took place. The Roku Olympics Day 5 took place. Then August 6th, where Roku Olympics Day 6 took place. And New Japan Summer Struggle Day 5 with an attendance of 698 in Corrigan Hall. They held the never openweight 6-man title first round matches. So check those out when you can. August 7th, Roku Olympics Day 7. New Japan Day 6. Still with first round matches. Then New Japan Strong Style USA edition episode 1. First round matches were Kenta defeating Carl Fredericks, Jeff Cobb defeating Tangaloa, David Finlay defeated Chase Owens, and Tama Tonga defeated Brody King. So then also on the 7th, of War Wrestling Friday Night Lights. Love the poster behind me. Thank you all again who signed it, except for Frank the Clown who ruined it. Yeah, big dumb idiot. Then on to Spirit, St. Louis Anarchy, Spirit of Spalding, where they held block matches from Alton, Illinois, where Gary J defeated the Kenway, Cole Radrick defeated Everett Connors, and Thomas Shear defeated Fred Yehai. I call that an upset right there. Then in Pro South Wrestling, Draw the Brawl, Piedmont, Alabama. The Draw the Brawl Battle Royal winner was Brandon Watley and Hold My Bear Hansen. I'd love to see that guy's shirt. Then on to ICW No Holds Barred Volume 3.75 in the Pit from Millville, New Jersey. Akira defeated Eddie Only in a no-ring death match. So all the matches took place in the Pit. So that was not even in the ring. Then there was a Horror Slam Undisputed, Undeniable, Undisclosed Location 11 in Michigan, where champion Tommy Vendetta defeated Jack Price and Zach Thomas with the undisclosed three-way title. The Horror Slam Heavyweight title, Chin Straps Jesus, champion defeated Sean Lahorn, and then soon after, Briar Wellington defeated champion Chin Strap Jesus to become new champion. ACW 35 All-Star Rumble from Wisconsin. Yeah. Their Water City title, Salem Crane defeated champion Joey Avalon. Then in ACW Heavyweight number 1 Contenders All-Star Rumble, Adam Grace defeated the likes of Swaggle, Brian Myers, Jake Daniels, and Joey Avalon. Back up to Calgary, Alberta, Canada for Friday Night Fights, Real Canadian Wrestling. Canadian Heavyweight title, champion Heavy Metal defeated AJ Sanchez. And in a hardcore match, Steve Wild defeated Matt Hart. August 8th, PWA Black Label Call to Arms 2020 in Ingleburn, New South Wales, Australia. You are now on the map. Then still in Australia, in Hinmarsh, South Australia, for Riot City Wrestling. We're back, baby, with episode 20, my fault, for episode 214. So now you are on the map. Tokyoshi Pro Princess Cup Day 1, first round matches. There's a lot of those, so don't need to get into that. I'll get the results later. Ice Ribbons, New Ice Ribbon 1056 took place with a 10 to 48. Freedom's Jun's Kansei Produce Tokyo Deathmatch Carnival Volume 1 with a 10 to 441 took place. DDT, King of the DDT 2020 first round matches. First round matches were El Lindemann defeating Yoki Naya. Dansiko Dino defeated Antonio Honda. T-Hawk defeated Kazuki Hirata. And Okido defeated Tatsu Endo. New Japan Summer Struggle Day 7. Semi-final matches. It was Shuso Okada, Sho, and Toriano defeating Bushi, Sonata, and Shingo Takagi. And then Hiroki Goto, Tomohiro Ishii, and Yoshihashi defeated Hiroshi Tanahashi, Kota Ibushi, and Master Wato. So it will be Chaos versus Chaos for the titles. Stardom 5-Star Grand Prix Day 1 with a 10 to 445. Some of the matches in the red block were Himeka defeating Tam Nakano. In the blue block, it was Utami Hayashita defeating Jungle Kiona. And then in the 5-star red block, in an awesome match, it was Julia defeating Mayu Iwatani. Check that out if you can. That match was pretty darn awesome. Dragon Gate to Gate Adventure Day 1 was attendance of 225. In a 6-man match, Ben K, Dragon Dia, and Strong Machine J defeated Masato Yoshino, Ryo Saito, and Ultimo Dragon. And Ida defeated Yoshiko Santa Maria. Gotta always put that name in there. Then back in the States for WrestleMerica in Barnesville, Georgia, with attendance of 150. There was a winner gets a WrestleMerica contract, Battle Royal, where Chris Jacobs won that. And the Tyson, and in the Wrestle America Heavyweight title three-way match, Tyson Dean defeated Logan Creed, who was champion, and Mike Payne. So congrats on Tyson Dean. There was a Total Chaos Wrestling in Dearborn Heights, Michigan. So you were on the board. River City Championship Wrestling live at Black Horse in Winona, Minnesota. So you are now on the map. And for the vacant Black Horse title battle royal, the winner was Aesop Mitchell. And so then later in the night, Aesop defended his title against Chris Steele. Metroplex Wrestling in Bedford, Texas, Time After Time took place. And KFW Wrestling Unfinished Business 2 in Sevierville, Tennessee. When intensive 140 took place, with Myron Reed defeating Cole Radrick, Corey Storm, and Trey Lamar. And in the K-POW title match, Gustavo Aguilar, who was champion, defeated Alex Zane. So Trey and Alex went from Warrior Wrestling to Tennessee. Good to see them on more shows. Then International Wrestling Cartel, IWC Base Brawl from Washington, Pennsylvania. They had a Super Indie title four-way match with champion Johnny Patch defeating Angelique, Anthony Young, and Paris Sahara. And the IWC World Heavyweight title Falls Count Anywhere Base Brawl match, champion Jimmy Vegas defeated Jock Sampson. I would have loved to have seen that match in a baseball field. Then ICW No Holds Barred Volume 5. Volume 4, had an afternoon show. And then ICW Volume 5 took place at night. For their Funhouse death match, Eric Ryan defeated Pagano by referee's decision. This was a pretty short match, in my opinion. I'm guessing Pagano was cut open in a dangerous way, even though he cut a promo after the bell. So, only one knows, and that with Pagano and all. Then Frozen Tundra Wrestling Flashpoint from Beaver Dam, Wisconsin. So you are now on the map for the FTW 24/7 title match. I don't like that's FTW, so look out for Taz. Zach McGuire defeated champion Jay Bishop to become champion. Body Progressive Wrestling from Tulsa, Oklahoma. El Gringo Loco teamed with Elijah Sparks to defeat Malo and Mio Malo. So nice to see Gringo Loco traveling around a bit. I Believe in Wrestling 206 from Winter Park, Florida. They had a Florida J Cup tournament where Amber Nova defeated Blake Banks in the final. So congrats to Amber. Up to Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. Not bad. For Monster Pro Wrestling, The Return. For the Renegade Tag Titles, Pro Pain and Wrath defeated champions Dad Bod Squad of James Crowder and Rick Jules. And they had a Gladiator Battle Royal with the winner of Larry Woods. August 9th, Tokiyoshi Pro Day 2 took place. Stardom 5-Star Grand Prix Day 2 also took place with a attendance of 402. Highlights for Mayu Iwatani defeating the Starlight Kid. Momo Watanabe defeating Azumi. Tam Nakano defeating Konami. Siri defeated Jungle Kiona. And Hamika defeated Julia in a very hard-fought match. Then Pro Wrestling Team Duro. Michigo Kagami, sorry about that, debut 10th anniversary took place for an attendance of 120, where Masato Tanaka defeated Michiru Kageyama. That's what I meant to say earlier. New Japan Day 8 took place with 698 in attendance, where Hiroki Goto, Tomohiro Ishii, and Yoshihashi defeated Okada, Sho, and Tortorello to become the new never openweight 6-man champions. I feel sorry for Sho. He got destroyed by Ishii and Goto all throughout the match. Hope he's okay. Ice Ribbon 1054 took place, went a 10-4-18, where World Underground Wrestling Champion Cherry defeated Bonnie Okawa, and Susie Suzuki won the number 1 contendership 5-way match. They also did Ice Ribbon 1057 with a 10-818. Champion Cherry also defeated Matsu Uno in that. For the Fantastic Ice title match, which was vacant, Risa Sera defeated Rina Yamashita to become new champion. In the International Ribbon Tag title match, Hiriji Kurumi and Moki Miyagi defeated Tsukasa Fujimoto and Tsukishi to become new champions. And in the Ice Infinity title match, Susie Suzuki defeated champion Maya Yuhiai to become new champion. Goku Oki, Matsumoto, and Shigo Nagoya debut 4th anniversary match took place. Dragon Gate, the Gate Day 2 took place with an attendance of 309. DDT second round matches. King of DDT Dramatic Second Chance Battle Royal, Tatsuya Endo won that, so he's back in. Second round matches were T-Hawk defeating Makoya Oshii, Aikido defeated Tori Owashi, Kenshiko Takashita defeated Al Lindemann, and Kasada Huaguchi defeated Hiroshima. 2A Chai Battle 68 took place with an attendance of 71. Then Middle Kingdom Wrestling took place in Heilong, China. They filmed episodes 1, 2, and 3. In episode 1, for the world title match, champion Zombie Dragon defeated DC Chen. Back in the States, for All-Star Pro Wrestling in Bethany, Oklahoma. For the ASP title, O'Brien defeated champion Angel Camacho to become new champion. New South 5th anniversary show in Huntsville, Alabama. They had a Buried Alive match with Donnie Janela for defeating Chris Crunk. And in their New South title match, Derek Neal defeated champion Cabana Man Dan to become new champion. Then CMLL held a show in Arena, Mexico. It was on Facebook, so if you can look that up. It was about an hour show. There was a best 2 out of 3 falls with Guerrero Mayer Jr. and Stuka Jr. defeating Okumara and Vangelis. La Rachita and Sonny and Sanelli defeated La Polo and Rina Isas, and Angel De Oro, Cristico, and Star Jr. defeated El Terrible, Gran Guerrero, and Templario. So that was a good main event. On August 10th, we are getting closer, folks. 0-1, We're Not Going to Lose the Corona took place day 6 with a attendance of 720. Now this was interesting to me. For the NWA Intercontinental Tag Team title, which was vacant, Toro Waski and Sugataki Taka Saito defeated Takashi Sasaki and Yuko Miyamoto to become new champions. And in their Tenkaichi Junior Tournament final match, Soki Kitamaro defeated L. Lindemann. Tokiyoshi Pro Day 3. This is where I'll get to the second round matches. Natsumi Maki defeated Pam Harkujuro. Soko Nakajima defeated Mahiro Kiru. Mayu Yamashita defeated Hikaru Noya. Hypermisho defeated Yuka Sakazaki. Dirty Tactics, Harper's, but still, I won't hold it against her. Noah Pro Wrestling 20th Anniversary, The Chronicle, Volume 3. IPW UK, even they have a UK Junior Heavyweight title. Hayata defeated champion Daisuke Harada to become new champion. Kenzie Muto defeated Kaito Kiyomiya. And in the GHC Heavyweight title versus GHC National title, champion goes Shiozaki. And Kanoi, who was the national champion, went to a 60-minute time limit draw. So I'm sure that match is pretty awesome. They also had, DDT, King of DDT, third round action. Antonio Honda and Chris Brooks defeated L. Lindemann and Nobuhiro Shimatani. So Chris actually won a match. In the quarterfinal matches, T-Hawk defeated Yuki Ino. Akito defeated Shina Oki. Tatsuyo Endo defeated Minoru Tanaka. So he made that battle back prevalent. And in Kasasada, Higuchi defeated Konshiko Takashita. Big Japan Pro Wrestling held a show at 375. Strong World title match. Champion Daichi Hashimoto defeated Akira Hoyo. And in the Big Japan tag title, the Astronauts of Fuminara Abe and Takira Nomiro defeated Daisuke Sakamoto and Kohei Sato to become new champions. H2O Undiscovered number 30, Sink or Swim, took place in Williamstown, New Jersey, where the H2O Undiscovered title tournament final match was Ryan Redfield defeating Kristen Ross to become champion. August 11th, New Japan Day 9 took place with attendance of 440. Big Japan 01 2AW put on a joint show with an attendance of 220. Then later on, 2AW held their own show with attendance of 230. So they got 10 more people in for theirs. In their tag title match, Kengo Massimo and Tatsuyo Hanami defeated champions Omo Honda and Taishi Takizawa to become new champions. Back here in the States, Limitless Wrestling put on a show at round 3 in Maine. OVW TV taped 1097, 1098, and 1099, so I'll talk about those when they come out. August the 12th, Ice Ribbon Peace Party number 56 took place with an attendance of 113. And then Ice Ribbon episode 1058 took place. Dragon Gate Adventure Day 4 with an attendance of 578. With Dragon Kid, Nuki Doyo, Shijo Kondo, and Ultimo Dragon defeated Ben K, KZY, Strong Machine J, and UT. New Japan held Day 10 with 630 people. August 13th, Ice Ribbon 1059 took place. Actually, they held a couple shows. It was Uni Ribbon 3, Uni Ribbon 4 and 5, all with different attendance records. So I find that a little weird. August 14th. Ice Ribbon, new Ice Ribbon 1062, with a attendance of 172. And then they held day 7 with 246. A lot of wrestling for Ice Ribbon, I must say. Then Actress Girls, AGZ Act in Corrigan Hall took place. And then back here in the States, H2O Wrestling Hardcore Hustle Organization, back in the saddle again from Williamstown, New Jersey, for their hybrid title three-way match. Frankie Picard defeated Johnny Nova and champion Lucky 13 to become new champion. Heavyweight title match, champion Low Life Louie defeated Homicide. And in a no-rope barbed wire match, Mouse defeated Matt Tremont. So that probably was hard-hitting. Then in Lehigh Valley Athletic Council Real Rumble Weekend, day 1 from Layton, Pennsylvania. So you are now on the map. In their Mahogany Drive-In Theater, Willow Nightingale defeated Gabby Ortiz. And in a 6-person tag, a very good professional wrestler, Jeff Cannonball and Rex Lawless defeated Cheeseburger, Faye Jackson, and Puff. So nice to see some big names for that show. Well, big enough names, New Japan Strong Style USA Episode 2. Now I enjoyed this because they had a match of PJ Black, Blake Christian, and Mysterioso defeating TJP, ACH, and Alex Zane. This was an awesome 6-man match, and nice to see Blake and Alex get another chance on a world stage. For semifinals, David Finlay defeated Tama Tonga, and Kenta defeated Jeff Cobb via low blow. So that's Kenta for you. Then earlier today, on August 15th, Ingasi Pro Wrestling Summer Festival took place. Pure J Dream Team 3rd and Leon 20th anniversary took place with an attendance of 493. Aja Kong and Leon defeated Akino and Kaho Kobayashi. And for their daily sports tag title, Hanako Nakamura Mori and Rina Yamashita defeated Makoto and Moike Haruicho to become new champions. DDT Diman held a show for their KO'd tag title match. Naomi Yoshimura and Yuki Uno, who are champions, defeated Suicide Boys of Makami and Tono Masaki Toba to retain. Tokiyoshi Pro Princess Cup Day 4, which I was able to watch. Quarterfinal matches, they're all really good. Mizuki defeated Yuki Onoi. Okay. Maki Ito defeated Mio Watanabe. Soka Nakajima defeated Natsumi Maki. And Miya Yamashita defeated Hyper Misio. Finally, the news. With some Stardom news, Julia had to withdraw from this weekend show due to severe headaches. And with said show, which was supposed to happen earlier today, had to be canceled due to one of their members testing positive for corona. It's said to be a member that was not on the road trip, so it may be Julia, it may not. I don't know, but I hope the whole crew is safe and can get back to wrestling soon. And then CMLL News, they tested the empty arena waters last weekend with a return show, which I talked about on Facebook. And since the sailing was smooth enough to announce a date for their 87th anniversary show, the plan is to bring Friday shows back for September 4th, 11th, 18th, then the 87th anniversary show on the 25th, where fans could pick the opponents against CMLL champions. There is a price point for all these shows, so I don't know how well I can cover them, if at all, depending on if anyone covers them, since you have to pay at least, I believe it was $10 per show. So we will see how that goes. But good luck to CMLL nonetheless. And if you are in the Chicagoland area for August the 29th, look up Chicago Style Wrestling. The show starts at 2 p.m. at Lake in the Hills, American Legion Post 1231. Check it out if you can. Sky Blue is in action, which is always nice to hear. That's a wrap for me. For next time, with more indie shows or news that come about. Sorry about the length of the show. Don't forget to look up those YouTube channels and Twitch streams like Get the Tables on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Saturday nights. They're very cool to listen to and interact with. You might see Slacker in the chat room, so check it out. And then be on the lookout for Daniel Bryan channel, which is coming soon. So we'll see how that goes. Thank you for watching or listening. Hope you enjoyed the cut. Stay safe, take care, and be kind, everyone. Back to you, Tom.
All right, thanks, Charlie, for keeping everybody caught up on all the indie news after the week off last week. So let's get right into our next segment of the show, where I get to recognize somebody who is a good influence on the pro wrestling community, whether it's online or whatever it might be, and I'm talking about the Fan of the Week. So the Fan of the Week this week is more than just a fan at this point, but he started off just like all the rest of us did as a pro wrestling fan, and I'm talking about Mr. Steve Tortorello, the CEO of Warrior Wrestling. He is a high school principal. He is a wrestling promoter, but at heart he is a wrestling fan. You know, just like I am, just like everybody out there listening is. And he took that love of pro wrestling and, you know, combined it with his chosen career as an educator, and uses this wrestling promotion to raise money for his school. And you guys hear me talk about Warrior Wrestling all the time on this show. Steve is just an awesome guy. He is a fantastic wrestling promoter. He puts together some of the best matches I have ever seen in my life. He gets talent from all over the world, from every promotion around the world except for WWE. But I mean, Warrior Wrestling, some of the greatest independent wrestling you are ever going to see. If you've never seen a Warrior show, get to the High Spots Network or Fight TV or whatever, or go on, Podbean, listen to the audio from the last couple of shows that myself and Charlie have done commentary for. And all this started from Steve being a fan and loving wrestling and wanting to somehow, some way be involved in the wrestling business. Same reason I do this podcast. I love pro wrestling and I wanted to somehow contribute to the wrestling business, and hopefully I'm doing that in some small way. But so yeah, Fan of the Week this week, Warrior Wrestling CEO, somebody who I'm happy to call a friend of mine, Steve Tortorello. Again, go out of your way to check out Warrior Wrestling. You will not be sorry. So let's roll right along into the next part of the show, where I get to play kind of armchair promoter myself, and I'm talking about the Fantasy Booker. So this week's Fantasy Booker is Retribution. You heard me talking about them a little while ago, kind of taking over and invading Raw and Smackdown the last couple of weeks. And there's a lot of rumors and speculation out there as to who is going to eventually be in this faction. Now, it's pretty well established that the ones that are actually doing these run-ins and stuff like that are not the ones who are going to ultimately be revealed as the members of this faction. One of the big rumors that's out there is Dominic Dijakovic as being a member of Retribution. I don't necessarily like that. I think if it's going to be called retribution, I mean that tells you, that says it's somebody seeking revenge, somebody out for to get even or something like that. And Dijakovic doesn't fit that bill. I mean, he's been a prominent star in NXT. He's had title matches, been in main events. He's not one you would think that would be looking for any type of vengeance against WWE or anybody else. If you're gonna use this type of faction with a name like Retribution, it needs to be people who legitimately have a gripe. Somebody who's been overlooked, possibly some of the people that got released back in April. Just some names that I came up with off the top of my head. No Way Jose. This would be a great way to repackage him because he's a big guy. He can go in the ring. The happy-go-lucky thing really, in my opinion, never fit him with the conga line and all that. It just, for a guy his size who can fight the way that he can, that gimmick didn't fit him. Leo Rush, another one, definitely got beef with WWE. Dana Brooke, somebody who's terribly overlooked, in my opinion. Bobby Roode. Make Bobby Roode the leader of this faction. Turn Bobby Roode into the badass that we saw when he was in TNA. Because we haven't seen that part of him in the WWE. We saw flashes of it when he was in NXT as the NXT champion. They promoted him great there. But drop the glorious gimmick and, give us back Bobby Roode. The Canadian Enforcer, as he was originally called in TNA. I'm not saying go back to his old gimmick, but something along those lines. I want to see badass Bobby Roode. Marina Shafir and Jessamine Duke. They've pretty much fallen by the wayside since Shayna Baszler moved up to the main roster. We see them as part of the crowd on Raw and SmackDown. But when's the last time they were in the ring on NXT? So they definitely have a gripe. Natalya, she's one who could have a gripe against damn near anybody in WWE. Talk about underrated and overlooked. Probably the best in-ring female worker in WWE, has been there forever. And, how many title matches has she had in her entire career, let alone title reigns? I mean... So I think Natalya is one who could definitely be worked in there. So that's pretty much what I'm thinking about Retribution. That's how I would book Retribution. Bring in some people that have been overlooked, that haven't gotten that TV time, that haven't really gotten that shot, that have kind of gotten lost in the shuffle, or even bring back some people that have been released. That's what Retribution should be about, in my opinion. So let's get into our last segment of the show here, where I talk about sometimes a popular opinion, sometimes a not so popular opinion, but either way, it's an opinion, and I'm talking about the weekly hot take. My hot take for this week, I already kind of mentioned it a little while ago. Randy Orton and Drew McIntyre is the best storyline in wrestling right now. These two guys are putting on a master class of how to have a rivalry. I mean, they've barely touched each other. It's been, promos back and forth. 2 weeks ago on Raw, McIntyre cut an amazing promo on Randy Orton. This past week, we have Orton attacking Ric Flair, his own manager, because, he's the legend killer, and McIntyre actually coming out to not really make the save, but to try to help Flair after the attack from Orton, the low blow and the punt. But it's this is the best storyline going in wrestling right now. And that's pretty much all I can say about that. I can't wait to see the match between these two guys coming up at SummerSlam next week. So that's pretty much going to wrap up the show for this week. Coming up next week, I'm going to have my preview and predictions for SummerSlam. I'm also going to have a brand new interview with Ashley Mobwife Gambino, a great friend of the show, great supporter of the show. So can't wait to talk to her later on this week. But for right now, I am going to wrap things up. Hope everybody has a great week. Enjoy all the wrestling coming up, and I will talk to you guys soon.